Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, Your Stars Align. This is Carmina, in case you've forgotten and you were missing me because for the past, I think it's almost 2 weeks that I haven't really uploaded any videos. And that's mainly due to the fact that I really wanted to finish up my book, my research on how career factors apply to 375 musicians charts, right? So yeah, in case you were wondering, that book is out. I'll put a link somewhere here. You can go to my website on the section called book and see a few pages of the book and find out more about it, okay? Okay, so now that that's done, I'm gonna be making more videos on YouTube as usual. I have a couple of interviews planned as well, and yeah. Okay, so what do I want to talk to you guys about today? Actually, I want to talk about the color correspondence and the signs, right? The Rashis. Um, yeah, when I first started doing Vedic astrology, I not adopted, but I really learned about a set of colors that were slightly different from what I knew in Western astrology, right? Because even within Vedic or Western astrology, um, people are not really 100% agreement about like which color should be assigned to which sign, and everyone has their own argumentation and all that, right? But what sparked this video is that in his latest Rashi class, Ernst Wilhelm assigns some different colors to a few of the signs, and I'll explain you all about that. Okay, so, and what I wanted to say about the colors is that, I mean, when I learned Vedic astrology, and I learned that Scorpio is corresponding to brown, that made so much sense to me, right? Because from Western astrology, I knew that Scorpio was either black or, like blood red. But I mean, that didn't really sit well with me, right? And you know why? Because in my natal chart, in my Rashi chart, I have two planets in Scorpio that are not really comfortable there, right? So that color should not really sit well with me. And it's very true in my case because brown was always the color that I disliked, strongly disliked to wear. I don't usually discriminate against colors to wear, but brown was I don't like it, right? This is one of the reasons why I'm doing this video. It's not to contradict or argue and wave my finger at any color assignment. I just would like to see your guys' experience and if you can relate, right? If you have a sign that you have a planet in that feels good in there, right? That color assigned to that sign should be lucky for you. You should feel good with it. When I mean, I didn't realize it at the time, but after listening to the class, when I did the video interview with Ernst Wilhelm, I was wearing some shirt which was kind of iridescent, sparkly, and I realized that Ernst has K2 in Virgo, right? So I was totally activating his K2 in Virgo on the Lagna, and it turned out that in that interview we actually discussed K2 a lot. So it's interesting how these things pan out, right? Okay, let me pull up the table of colors. So yeah, if you want to know more details on why Ernst decided to switch up the colors, you can listen to his classes. He has some Rashi classes on YouTube and the rest are on his website, I think. I don't know if he's gonna publish all of them on YouTube, but yeah. So okay, the colors. The first one, Aries, right? Parashara says Aries is blood red. Vrida Yavana says it's reddish. Brihat Jataka, blood red. Saravali, copper reddish. Jataka Parijata, blood red. Lagu Jataka, reddish. And Surya Jataka, blood red. So you can see like a pattern here, right? Most authors think it's like red, blood red, except Vrida Yavana reddish and Saravali copper reddish, you know? Um, yeah, however, you know, Ernst has this new color theory, and I'll pull up here the colors, you know, like we have to find like colors that make sense for the time we are in, right? Because back then they didn't have such a large array of colors to wear or like readily available or like paints that we have now, right? So Ernst says that you know, he says that the fire rashes have to be hot colors, which makes sense, but he says Aries has to be magenta, right? So I'm curious about you guys, like if you have like, for instance, if you have Saturn in Aries in your chart, like do you despise the color red or like magenta? You know, like have you noticed like when you wear magenta or red, some things happen to you? I'll be very interested to know. Okay, the next color, Taurus. Taurus is white, like all the authors agree about white. Some of them even say bright white, but definitely it's white. And Ernst also says, you know, that earth rashes are all colors combined, you know, and the colors combined are white, like the light, the rainbow. When you think about that, colors combined turn to white. So that makes sense. So nothing contradictory or, you know, more controversial here. Then we move on to Gemini, okay? Okay, then Brihat Parashara says they are greenish. Vrida Yavana says they are dark blue. Brihat Jataka parrot like green. Saravali parrot green. Jataka Parijata says parrot green. Lagu Jataka greenish. And Surya Jataka again parrot like green. So almost a consensus that it's a shade of green, right? Except for Vrida Yavana, who says dark blue. And Ernst says, and this to me makes a lot of sense, just judging from my personal chart as well, that Gemini is cyan, right? And it makes sense because it's a special shade between, you know, blue and green. And for me, that is the color of the sign Rahu is in, right? So I can see how me wanting to choose that color or like wear that color coincided with some events in my life. You know, it makes a lot of sense. Like for instance, once I was in court and I just wanted to like wear this you know, this cyan shirt. And I have Rahu in the 8th house in Gemini, and 8th house, you know, also relates to legal battles. So that's interesting. Okay, so moving on from Gemini to Cancer. All the, you know, the old authors seem to agree that it's a shade of pale red, reddish, and you know, Ernst says pink, right? Um, Ernst actually says it's pink, and he used to say just pink, but now he says it's either pink or purple, right? Because pink corresponds more to the waxing moon and purple to the waning moon. And yeah, to me, that makes sense because, you know, purple is kind of a darker shade of pink. It's something that's darker, and the waning moon like corresponds to something darker. Okay, then we move on to Leo. Okay, Leo, Brihadsparashara says it's pale, Vridayavana says it's pale, then Brihadjataka pale smoke, Saravali the same pale smoke, then Jataka Parijata pale, Lagu Jataka pale, and Surya Jataka pale smoke. Like pale and pale smoke, how can we distinguish between this color and, like the white that is Taurus? And I think it does make sense to think of the fire rashis as hot colors, right? Um, and also, hot colors, yeah, and Leo to be yellow. And also, as we'll see later, Leo is opposite to Aquarius, which will turn out to be blue. So I can see Leo as yellow, I think. The only one that I have trouble with, like, is Aries, because I see Aries, it's hard for me to see it as magenta at the moment. But if I test a lot of charts and I see a lot of, examples of that working out, of course, I'm not a dogmatic person, I would like to think. Okay, then moving on to my soul planet Rashi color, which is shiny. All the authors give shiny to this one, to Virgo. And yeah, I have like the sun and Mercury there, my Atmakaraka, and I have always loved sparkly and glittery. So yeah, this one stays the same. From this one is not like under question. Also, Virgo is an Earth Rashi, and Earth Rashis are all colors combined. We were talking about Taurus, how it's white because colors combined in light turn to white. And then, scintillating, like sparkly, iridescent is Virgo. Okay, then we move on to Libra, which is also an interesting one, right? Brihadsparashara, Vridayavana, Brihadjataka, and Saravali and Surya Jataka say it's dark, right? Then Jataka Parijata says dark blue, and then Lagu Jataka says other than white. So, just one of them says dark blue, and the others say, it's a darker shade, which is very interesting, right? So, what is Libra? Libra, it's in an air sign, right? The air sign that we had before was Gemini. And I said like Gemini, cyan, it's a combination, a mix. It's like teal, it's a mix between blue and green. And I already mentioned as a spoiler that Aquarius would be blue. So cyan is like combination between blue and green. So it just makes sense that Libra would be green, right? I think that makes sense. Yeah, so always keep in mind that for these ancient authors, it was like more difficult to describe like colors in a way because they didn't have so many readily available shades that we have now, right? And also, for instance, parrot green, like what kind of green, what kind of shade of green were those parrots? Maybe they were turquoise, maybe they were like frog green or forest green. So that's what I'm saying. You have to, I don't know, try to integrate this information in today's context. Okay, then we move on to Scorpio. And Scorpio is seen as reddish brown by Brihadsparashara and Lagu and then um, deep brown from Vridayavana, and then gold like from Brihadjataka, Saravali, and Jataka Parijita, and then Surya Jataka says own color, right? Which is kind of the own color of the Scorpio, which is brown, I think. But I think, yeah, so Scorpio being a water sign, you know, has a special color, just like Cancer had like pink or purple. You know, Cancer has a pink belly. Scorpio can be orange or brown. That makes sense because it's kind of related. Not kind of, it's related, it's in the family. I can see Scorpio as orange and like ochre, not really like orange, maybe like ochre. So yeah, I can see how that would work out, right? Scorpio is a more orange thing, but I mean brown, 100% brown, yes. And reddish brown, you know, like I don't know, like a terracotta or something. I can see it, you know, something like that kind of orange, terracotta. Okay, then moving on to Sagittarius. Brihat Parashara says yellow, and then all the other authors say yellow, just with the exception of Vrida Yavana, who says deep red. Okay, so that's interesting, right? So yellow or deep red, what can it be? And as I was saying before, you know, Sagittarius is of course one of the fire signs. And if Leo is yellow and Aries is magenta, then Sagittarius would be red. So yeah, but I'm still a bit on the fence on this one. Like, why can't Aries be, I don't know, red? Uh, this one is a bit tough for me, but I really need to test these things out, you know. Ernst has already tested them. He didn't make like such a statement without testing them with gem therapy and things like that. So yeah, he didn't make like an assumption. He talks about these things after testing them extensively. So I also have to test them in several charts. Okay, so and then after this shocker Sagittarius red, we have Capricorn, which all of them agree that it's it's like a pattern card. It's variegated, 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 variegated. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it makes a lot of sense, right? Earth Rashis are all colors combined, like we saw, like Taurus was white and Virgo is scintillating, and Capricorn is like colored patterns. And it's very interesting because like for the past years I really have embraced, like I've really worn a lot of patterned clothes, and I think it's because I don't have anything in Capricorn in the Rashi, but you know, my Dasha Lord is Saturn, and Saturn is the Lord of Capricorn. And I also have, I mean, Saturn is in Capricorn as we speak as well. And also in the D60, I have Saturn in Capricorn. So maybe, I don't know, something like Dasha Lord color, something like that. Maybe that's why I'm so into patterns, pattern things at the moment. Yeah, so I would like to hear your guys' opinion too about how these things apply to you. Okay, so then we move on to Aquarius. This is interesting because all the authors say either brown or deep brown. Actually, all of them say deep brown besides, except for Vrida Yavana, which says a simple brown. Kapila, I think, is pronounced like the simple brown, and Baru is like the deep brown. But you know, like Scorpio is already brown and it makes a lot of sense for it to be brown. So it can't be the same color as Aquarius. But Aquarius is, you know, one of the air signs, so it's like blue-greenish family of colors. And you know, cyan is a mixture of them, which is Gemini, so it would make sense to be blue, you know. I would think so. And then we have Pisces, and the color assigned to it is clear, pale, or bright. So something like transparent, because it's not the same as Taurus, which is like white, you know, Pisces is like clear, so transparent. And so yeah, so it's like lack of color. And Earth says, you know, it can be clear or it can be black, because black is also absence of color. And I guess it also depends like what you have in Pisces in your chart, right? Because if you have like Rahu in Pisces, you know, it would be like dark, like more black, you know, because Rahu darkens, and Saturn as well. So yeah, this is about what I had to say about these things, and I'm looking forward to hearing your opinion on it. And like, let me know if you have like any planets that feel very good in certain signs in your chart, and you can associate that with colors and events that happened in your life. Okay, so I'll see you guys soon on Monday. You can check out my other videos, and you can check out my book on musicians. I'm gonna link it here somewhere. And yeah, get you guys soon. Bye.